Hi, and welcome back to
Inspired to Game. I'm Sean.
And I am Lola. Today we are talking about Sweet Mess Pastry Competition. Now this is a game for 1 to 4 players by Pika and Fantasia Games, who we want to thank for sending us a copy of the game to review. Now before we get into the review, we will give you a quick overview of how to play it. In Sweet Mess Pastry Competition, your goal is to create the best recipes and win the competition. To begin your turn, you'll take your token on your player bench and move it to one of the 2 empty locations. They're going to let you do things such as take 4 ingredients from one single bowl, use a tool card, or take 3 leftovers, or prepare a recipe. The ingredients of the game consist of jello, crust, whipped cream, chocolate, cherries, candy, or wild tokens. When you get to take 4 ingredients from one bowl, you must be able to fit them into your bench. The first location allows you to place 4 different ingredients. The second lets you place 4 of the same ingredients. The third location allows you to place 2 matching ingredients twice. However, both of these 2 ingredients must be different than the other 2. If you go to take ingredients and you cannot fit it anywhere in your bench according to the rules, then you cannot take those ingredients. To do the prepare a recipe action, you must discard the required ingredients back to the supply. Now the location that you place it in determines one immediate reward you get as soon as you place it. When you get to take ingredients from a bowl, if you have emptied that bowl, you get to make a mess. What that means is you take the bowl type and you add one of those tokens into each orthogonally adjacent location, any diagonally adjacent sideboard locations as well. Then you flip the bowl over and the game continues. The next thing that happens on your turn is everything in your bottom queue of prepared recipes advances 1 place forward. If a recipe advances off the queue, now that is a completed recipe and you can use it to obtain awards if you're able to. The first person to claim 3 awards will signal the end of the game. One last round is played through and then you tally up all the points and see who is the best chef in town. I love the whole aesthetic here. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. And the theme is just delightful.
One might say delicious.
Totally. It's totally delicious. So the whole production value of this is fantastic. The bowls are nice. The acrylic tokens are fantastic.
And again, here we have that amalgamation of a cardboard player mat with a plastic background, and the plastic background lets you do all sorts of wonderful things, like having the division of those where your ingredient tokens go into that you couldn't really get with just a plain cardboard or even a dual layer cardboard board.
It makes it nice to put your ingredients in. As well, one thing we didn't talk about in the overview, you have a chance to put an ingredient in storage, and that's really helpful. So when you do that, you have to give up an ingredient and then you take one of the corresponding jar tokens to put in the corresponding area. Now this is an ingredient you have all the time and you can use it for any recipe, and it's not one that's lost, it's there forever. So these are really wonderful investment. So this gets into the strategies of the game. So this is a solid, I say light medium weight game. It's a great gateway game, so it's wonderful to introduce to people who aren't heavy gamers, but at the same time there's a good amount of strategy going on as well. So from getting these tokens to have more permanent ingredients, as well as where you place your recipes down for getting the reward that you want, because you can get some better rewards by putting it more to the left, but then they're longer in the queue. Trying to time things just right to get the awards before your opponents, because the piles for the awards, it's based on type, whether it's cake or pastry, whichever, and they start with a higher number and they go lower as you go down. So whoever's first getting those are going to get more points. So yeah, so there's a lot of timing because it is a competition and there's that race element to it too. Now, and taking the ingredients is a ton of fun, as well as just making a mess. It's that great aesthetic. It's that whimsical, fun vibe that it has. Now, what adds to the strategies here too is there's a bit of a puzzle with how you put your ingredients in, because each slot is particular. There's you can put 4 of the same, or 4 different, or 2 of the same, but those each 2 of the same 2 slots must be each different. So it's that puzzle of getting those ingredients in the right place for what you're going for. What makes this a little bit easier is most recipes does have some grayed out ingredients that can be anything you want. Now usually there may be 2 of the same, of whichever you want, but it does have to be something that's not already in the recipe, or 4 of whatever you want type of thing. And that also even makes it really fun when you're putting the recipes together, because it's going to be a very different recipe if you have 4 chocolate versus if you have 4 Jello or 4 candy for that element of it. And it's kind of fun to visualize and enjoy what different creations you're making through your choices of the ways to use those gray anything parts.
Cherry and Jello, very different from chocolate and cherry.
Yes. Yeah. And an important thing to note here with all this, with the puzzle of where you put things, because once an ingredient is in a spot on your bench, it cannot be moved. Which gets into that puzzle, because yeah, you can't take an ingredient. If you can take 4 ingredients and it's a bowl that has 4, but there's only 1 or 2 things that fit, that could be detrimental to you. But
anything that you can't take stays in the bowl.
Yes, it stays there. Yeah, and you only make a mess if you empty a bowl as well.
Honestly asking here.
The only thing that I have here to say that I think could be improved upon with this game is I would love to see a playmat with it. This is a game that really begs to have a playmat. So much so that we've actually created our own one using construction paper, because it's a little fiddly to put out. So all these bowls, and if you have a little bit of OCD or something, you want to get them all just right, but it takes a good amount of table space as well. And if you're needing to adjust it because somebody's player bench doesn't quite fit because they need room underneath the cards, so now everything has to move. Now you're moving all those little individual bowls and trying to line them all up, and it's slightly crazy making because it has to be just right, like it really does. So a playmat would be so fantastic aesthetically, but then it's nice if you have an exact place to put each bowl and you know where it is. So it's obviously not a huge thing. We really like this game. I really love this game, and even making our own out of construction paper just as an easy way to organize it all, and because then you have it to move around if you need to, and it's all together and it flows. So it is an easy way to fix that, but that is one thing I would love to see, and we'd probably purchase it if they came with it as an add-on. So final thoughts here. As I mentioned, I really love this game. The aesthetic, the whimsy, the art, the whole production quality is fantastic, and it is fun to play. It does
make you hungry though.
Yeah, eat it with a few snacks, maybe a little bit of candy. There's a nice puzzle here. There's a lot going on, something that is a gateway that anybody can play, but is still engaging and has some meat to it. So it really strikes a nice balance of that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a game that will be making it to our table time and time again. So if you are interested in Sweet Mess, you can take a look for it because it's just coming to retail. Thank you so much for watching us today.
If you've enjoyed this content, please support us by subscribing to the channel.
And if you want to support us even further, we have a Ko-fi account that we'll have a link to in our description, and feel free to donate whatever you would like to donate to help us out to improve our equipment. We are not a monetized channel in any way, so this is kind of all done for free. So any support that you can give really helps us, and we are so grateful. Thanks again, and as always, happy gaming, folks. To begin your turn, you're going to look. You don't have to look at it. You can just do it. You don't have to look at all.
Right, to protect against. Her hands were so warm the other day.
I know, and they're so cold. I didn't even have the sweater on. And I'm going to allow you to do such things such as I do that, as well as I don't know where I'm going with that.
Other things.
You also get to make a mess. What this means. Okay.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, are you, what are you talking about?
Should I try that again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
What are you talking about? The first person to obtain 3 awards will win the game. No? Again, and as always, happy gaming, folks. Let's try this.
Jump the gun!
Just a way that doesn't hinder you. Doesn't hinder you. And hinder you. Thanks again, and happy game.
Skipped a word just to mess with my head.